Hi, this is Tom Ryder. Welcome to the Backyard Woodshop. We've got a new addition to the shop today I'd like to do a review on. This is the Nova Comet 2 Midi Lathe, and I've used it a little bit and I really like it, so we're going to get into some of the specifics that it can do. I picked this up at Rockler this week for $499. One of the great pluses to it was it came with a free Nova G3 chuck. This has the reversible feature on it, which means it's got a little locking screw so that when I put the lathe in reverse while sanding a bowl or something, the chuck won't unscrew itself. So let's get into this review. Let's go over the specifications for this lathe quickly. The weight of the lathe is 77 pounds. The swing over the bed is 12 inches. The distance between centers is 16.5 inches. You've got a 6-inch tool rest that comes standard. The tailstock is self-ejecting, which is quite nice. The motor is 3/4 horsepower, which is a little better than a lot of them out there. You've got variable speed with forward and reverse, and there's lots of accessories that you can add to this lathe, so let's go into some of that stuff. Well, let's go over what comes standard with the lathe very quickly. You get the lathe out of the box, very little assembly that you have to do. You just have to put the feet on, put a little handle here on the tail piece, screw the hand wheel on, you'll get a hand wheel with it. But everything else is just going to come in a bag. You're going to get a wrench to unscrew your faceplate with if you need to. You're going to get the faceplate, which is 3-inch. You're going to get a knockout bar. You're going to get a drive spur, which is Morse 2 taper, which is nice. And you're also going to get a live center. So you're going to get everything you need except for the chisels to kind of get started. Let's undo the cover here. You just kind of unscrew this a little bit and then the cover will open up and it reveals a nice big open access area. That's something I've seen on a lot of lathes. It's really hard to get into the belt. This one here, very easy. You got your 3 belts here. One of the things I failed to mention was it does have 12 position indexing on it, so you can lock the head into place or you can have it spin free. So if you were wanting to break a faceplate off, you could lock the head, take it off. It's real simply like any lathe. You just unloosen this motor mount down here, unloosen the belt, drop it down, but as you can see I can easily get into that belt and change it quickly. So that's a very nice feature there. I just want to show the control panel up close. You've got an on-off switch here, forward and reverse right here, and then your variable speed dial right here. So it's quite easy to get to. It's right on the front at the bottom. So you'd flip this on. One of the pluses I'd like to mention is this is a magnetic switch. So if you were to accidentally bump this while you were turning and try to hit it in reverse, this would kill the motor and you'd have to actually hit the green button again to make it go in reverse. So that's a really nice feature. Here I wanted to show that the centers are in perfect alignment with each other right out of the box. And then your banjo is just a simple cam lock, just like any other lathe, which is quite nice. Got your tool post lock here. You can just adjust very quickly. A lot of people complain about not having a cam lock on the tailstock, but I mean that's locked down. It's just a quarter turn back the other way, and it's free as a bird again. So I really don't have any issue with this. It locks right on. You got your lock up top. So this is a good setup for this part of the lathe. This is the locking pin on the back of the lathe, just to show that you can see that it's on the back. And you can see that it says lock and unlock on it, but when you're on the front of the lathe, you cannot see that. You'd have to walk all the way around to the back to see it. But there is an indent for each part, so you can spin it, and right now it's just floating. There it's locked, so now your index is locked, so then you just turn this and unlock it. I just want to show this side of the lathe real quick. You get the hand wheel standard. It's got holes in it if you wanted to put a bigger wooden wheel on there or something to make it bigger for your hand. It's got 4 screws, holes right here. That's to hold the adapter lock that when you put an accessory on will lock that into place. You can go online. There's plenty of videos on that and show some of the accessories that you can get. Some of the accessories are a whetstone, a belt sander. There's supposed to be a flexible shaft rotating tool, grinding wheel, sanding disc, wire brush. So there's going to be lots of accessories for this. There's a shelf you can get that'll hold the Wolverine jig so that you can do all your sharpening right here at the lathe and keep turning. So, well, earlier when I was testing the lathe out off camera, I made a mallet with it. A lot of guys like to have the mallet handle on the end. I like to have it like a traditional hammer. I don't like a ton of extra handle on it. I like my handles short, so I get more of a tapping motion rather than a beating motion. So, and I just got a new wood threader, and I threaded the head onto it. But this lathe, it was everything from all the way from the bark all the way to the finished product was turned on the lathe. Didn't have any issues. It really wasn't out of balance or anything like that once I was able to speed it up from rough turning it. So so far I'm very happy with the lathe. As far as its function, it's done everything it's asked. Alright, well, I've had all positives to say so far about this Nova lathe, and this really is. It's a great lathe. I only have one complaint about Nova, the company, is they didn't break in these motors before they shipped them out. They're relying on guys like you and me to break them in when we get them out of the box. I read the manual before I started using the lathe. I know a lot of guys might skip that step, but I really advise you to read your owner's manuals, you know, because sometimes you find out information such as this. It says the DC motor contains brushes that contact the commutator. It is very important to allow between 30 to 45 minutes of runtime of these brushes before any turning or significant load is applied. And that should be done in the higher RPM range. A clicking or swishing noise in the motor is normal, which will reduce as the brushes wear in. So, I did that, and you do hear a clicking and swishing noise as the carbon in those brushes starts to wear in on the commutator. And that's not a big deal, but if you're a guy who wants to just open this thing, get it out and start turning, and you don't read the manual, you know, you may end up damaging your motor possibly because you're putting it under a heavy load before it really breaks in. So luckily I read the manual and I was able to break the motor in, and it runs really quiet now. Before it was doing a clicking and you know, swishing, I guess they call it, and that's kind of subsided a lot, and you can put this thing under a pretty good load and not have too many issues. So that's just something I wanted to say as a negative for this lathe. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching my video review of the Nova Comet 2 Midi Lathe. I really like this lathe overall. I hope that it helped influence whether you decided to buy this lathe or another. You know, I think that you should pick the tool that best fits your needs, whatever the name brand. For me, this one was it. The price point helped. It had forward and reverse, which I really liked, a big speed range. The fact that the G3 chuck came with it free, that was a big influence as well. So, I'd like to thank you for watching my video. Please leave your comments if you would, and subscribe. Thank you.